We're joined now by Brian Bortz, CEO of the Israel-South Africa Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Bortz, thanks for joining us. I understand you obviously travel to Africa on a regular basis. We just heard from the report that only about 31% of people actually have a device in hand. What can you tell us about penetration in Africa?
Penetration in Africa in general is, as we heard, very low.
Yeah.
It is one of the largest growing markets in the world for mobile due to these facts. The problem is the penetration, the infrastructure. There is no fiber, there is no copper, and therefore looking for alternate solutions, as we saw in this report, with balloons or other solutions. One of the leading solutions at the moment as well, besides the large, also Israeli companies as well as many other companies with wireless solutions in penetrating these markets, is also O3B, which is putting up a global satellite solution for covering O3B, standing for the other 3 billion, referring to the other 3 billion that have no connection, not to phones or not to data. So they're putting up low-cost satellite solution, which will hopefully address this market and provide a lower-cost solution, enabling a higher penetration.
Now, what does this really mean for the average African? I mean, why is this so significant?
We mustn't forget, as we saw, there is no means of communication. This is...
Can you illustrate an example?
Definitely. I mean, as you said, like with the farmers, I mean, these people have taken advantage of not knowing what's happening in the world. And when coming to sell the goods, we're selling them not at the fair prices that they deserved. But also, a major thing is in Kenya, with Safaricom offering, as we saw also here, a banking solution. That suddenly, with the use of the mobile phone, all banking, loans, savings, transactions, everything done through the mobile phone. So it's not just talking, but it's a whole way of life and a solution which will enable them to reach the 21st century.
Can you sort of forecast or predict what kind of an impact this will have on the African economy?
We certainly hope that it will increase and improve the way of life, open trade and penetrate more trade, and increase the standard of living, because the standard of living is very low in the rural areas. And the urban areas, we have a high penetration. The major issue is always the rural areas. And in these regions, majority of the population is in the rural areas and not in the urban areas.
And so obviously by this satellite technology, can you describe a little bit more about the O3B? What exactly the communications technology that they intend to put in actually entails?
Well, one of the major differences between the O3B satellite solution and other satellites that exist today is what's called geostationary. Is a satellite goes up and it covers a specific area permanently. It's very high up and it's very costly. What O3B are doing are putting a large amount of satellites which are constantly moving at a lower height, and therefore it's much cheaper for them to put them up and much cheaper for them to run, and therefore, but they have to have a larger number because they're constantly moving and having to provide coverage of all the different regions. So you've got these satellites moving all the time and providing handover and all different communication features that we know today. So it's providing low-cost satellite solution to the rural areas.
To resolve the issues in the rural areas. Thank you very much, Mr. Bortz.
Pleasure.
Thank you.